Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back with a new Viking Orations. Got another review for you today, and this time I'm going to be talking to you about the forthcoming second full-length album from the band Suffer, entitled Grand Canvas of the Aesthete, out on March 29th through Wise Blood Records. And if you are not familiar with Suffer, they are a death metal band out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, been around since 1990, featuring a core group of Justin Ashleman, hopefully I pronounced your name right, if not I apologize, on lead guitar, C.R. Pettit handling rhythm guitar and vocals. Of course, he's also in Empty Throne. Angerrod, he played guitar in Phantom, among other things. And then finally, Jason Ellsworth handling the bass. He again is also in Empty Throne and Angerrod. He was in another awesome death metal band called Fall, among other projects that he has going. And then they did get a couple of session musicians for this album, namely Renee Brandich. I probably butchered that. I apologize. He handled the session drums. He's actually based in the Netherlands, of all things. And then finally, Darren Pettit, brother of CR, handling handling session guitar, excuse me. And he actually also appeared on the band's Concubine album as well. As I said, this is their second full-length album. It is 8 tracks, just a few ticks over 44 minutes in length. And honestly, I have been a fan since discovering their 2015 album, Concubine. And when I heard that they had signed to Wise Blood Records, I was ecstatic. And, that they were also now going to be releasing an EP, which is this one right here. But they were also going to be putting out a full-length album. I was just elated to finally get some new Suffer material because it has been so long. And once this promo hit my inbox, I couldn't download it fast enough. And it's been on regular rotation at home and at work ever since I got it. So what can you expect from these old school death metalers on their first new album in 9 years? Well, heavy, crunchy guitars all over this thing that hit you with, mostly mid to fast-paced riffing and, these nice head-bangable grooves and gouts, but they're also not afraid to slow things down, just absolutely crush you with these heavy, chugged riffs and just absolutely killer solos. And, one thing I noticed while listening to this is that there's definitely some Morbid Angel-inspired riffs that pop up across this album, and the band has said that they were big fans of Morbid Angel growing up, and they've definitely been an influence, and they definitely show it on this album. Not to say that everything sounds like Morbid Angel on here, but there's definitely some moments where you could definitely hear that little bit of influence to it. Good examples here: the lead-off track, the title track, Grand Canvas of the Aesthete. At 3:01, there's a nice solo that comes in, but then right underneath of it is this riff that to me brings to mind either the song God of Emptiness or maybe closer to the song I from Gateways to Annihilation. That's kind of what I was hearing when I heard it. The follow-up track number 2, Ashened Frolic, the Exquisite Promenade. Man, what titles. At about 1:45, another riff that brings to mind Morbid Angel. And then finally, the closing track, Human Primal Cuts, which is actually the lead-off track on this EP and was, I guess you can kind of say, the first single for this album, per se. That whole opening to that song, complete with the drums and everything, just really screams Morbid Angel to me. And the funny thing is, the first time that I listened to this that song on the EP, it didn't even dawn with me. It just took a few times to listen to it. I was like, okay, yeah, now I can see it. Moving on, Jason's bass on here is nice and thick tone with that bit of twang that I just absolutely love to hear in bass. It's right up in the mix, not overpowering any of the other instruments though, but really laying down a solid backbone throughout all these songs. And this album here is actually my very first time ever hearing Renee's drumming, even though I hear he's got several projects over in the Netherlands. And honestly, he really impressed me, not only with his performance, but just the production that he got for his drums. Lots of really nice patterns, rolls, and fills to be found here. I loved his blast beats, and his double bass work was really excellent. He gets really fast at times as well. And topping it off, CR, as usual, delivers a very powerful and very varied vocal performance. He's always amazed me because no matter what band he is, fronting, he has this kind of core style that he uses, but then he kind of adapts them to whatever band he's in. He kind of changes things up, adds things, takes things out. It just really adapts them to whatever he is, singing in whatever band he happens to be in at that time. So in addition to his, traditional snarly delivery, which here he kind of sounds a little more like Sean McGrath of Impaled, and he mixes that with his kind of Trevor Sturnadish, mid-range growl. He starts utilizing this, even lower growl that, I don't ever recall hearing him do before. I mean, a good example of what I'm talking about, he does it about a minute and 44 seconds into the opening track. And, like I said, I've never heard him do that before that I can recall. And to me, it sounds like he's kind of trying to channel his inner Anti Bowman from Demolish. I mean, that's the kind of sound I was getting. It was not quite to Anti's level, but it almost like he was trying to do his best impersonation of it, and it sounded absolutely killer, I gotta say. So yeah, very good stuff from him as always. Overall, I think these veterans have released an absolute banger of an album, and in my opinion, they show how death metal should be done. I mean, these guys have been 35 years in existence as Suffer, and they still have that fire in them to create a solid death metal album. And while they initially thought that this could very well be their swan song release, after seeing what they created and the experience of creating this album, making it the Suffer album that they always wanted to create, they said that they just couldn't give this up just yet and are going to keep going, which I am super glad for. Yet I gotta say, if they had made this their last album ever, I would say they were going to go out on a high note here, because this is just an absolutely fantastic album in my opinion. And in 2024, with a slew of bands that are just trying to be heavy for the sake of being heavy and sacrificing good songwriting and pursuit of just sheer brutality, these guys in Suffer have given a master class and how to do death metal right, in my opinion. This gets a solid 9 out of 10 from me. Go check out the new Suffer. As I said, this drops March 29th. I will leave a link down below to their Bandcamp and the Wise Blood Records Bandcamp. The band themselves actually have some really cool bundles, I gotta say, up for pre-order. I believe they are still available. I haven't checked in a while since I placed my order for them. But yeah, definitely go check these guys out. 9 out of 10 from me. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.